In a far corner of the galaxy, there was a world called Velaris, bright, beautiful, and full of secrets. Silver towers touched the clouds, and glowing ships moved silently in the sky. For centuries, no human had ever set foot there. Until today. Ethan Cole, a young human engineer from Earth, stepped down from the landing platform, his boots sinking into the soft silver dust. He looked around. The alien city sparkled like glass under two suns. His heart was racing, not from fear, but from wonder. "Welcome to Velaris, Ambassador Ethan," said the metallic voice of his small drone companion, Nova. The AI hovered beside him, glowing blue. Ethan smiled nervously. "Thanks, Nova. Just don't say anything stupid today, okay?" Nova blinked. "Define stupid, sir." Ethan sighed. "Never mind." They walked through the grand gates of the royal palace, guarded by tall alien warriors with crystal spears. Their eyes glowed faintly, neither angry nor kind, just curious. At the center of the hall stood the royal family of Velaris, and among them was Princess Lyra. She was not like the others. Her skin shimmered like light on water, and her eyes were the color of deep space. She looked proud, elegant, and a little bit lonely. Ethan bowed deeply, remembering the words the diplomats had told him. Be humble, be polite, and speak carefully. He opened his mouth, but before he could say a word, Nova beeped. A soft glitch in the translator system. The words came out wrong. Instead of a polite greeting, the translator projected loudly across the hall. Your Highness, I, Ethan Cole of Earth, wish to take you as my wife. Silence. Everyone froze. The guards raised their spears. The king's eyes widened. The princess blinked. Once, twice. Then her voice, calm but sharp, echoed through the chamber. You want me as your wife? Ethan's face turned pale. What? No, that's not what I... Nova, what did you... Nova's light flickered. Minor translation error detected, sir. Minor? You just proposed to an alien princess, Ethan whispered harshly, but the hall had already erupted in murmurs. The alien courtiers whispered among themselves, their tails twitching, their armor rattling. Did he just... a human? Impossible. Ethan raised his hands. Please, it was a mistake. The king stood slowly from his throne, his robe flowing like waves of light. Silence. The hall went quiet. Ethan swallowed hard. The king's voice was deep, calm, but carried power. A human has never spoken such words in this hall. You come here for peace, yet you offer my daughter marriage? Ethan shook his head quickly. It's not. I didn't mean... But before he could finish, Princess Lyra raised her hand. Her gaze was sharp, but not angry. There was curiosity, maybe even amusement in her glowing eyes. She stepped closer. Her presence was strong. Each step echoed softly on the marble floor. Tell me, human, do your kind always speak from the heart, even when you do not mean to? Ethan opened his mouth, then closed it. He didn't know what to say. Nova whispered quietly beside him. Recommendation. Say something charming, sir, Ethan muttered under his breath. Charming? I just proposed to her by accident. Lyra tilted her head. You look afraid, but your eyes do not lie. Her words were soft, almost thoughtful. Ethan finally said, "I didn't mean to offend. My translator glitched. I just wanted to say, it's an honor to meet you." The king looked at his daughter, then at Ethan. The silence stretched, long and heavy. Then, slowly, the king said, "Perhaps. Fate speaks through mistakes." Gasps spread through the hall. The princess's eyes widened slightly. Even she did not expect those words. The king continued, "We will not punish this man. Instead, let him prove if his words are worth destiny's joke." He raised his hand toward Ethan. "Human, you shall face our trials. If you survive, you will have earned your place among us." Ethan blinked. "Trials? Wait, what trials?" Nova beeped cheerfully. "Congratulations, sir. You are now a test subject for interspecies diplomacy." Ethan whispered, "Nova, I swear I'll throw you into a volcano." The king's guards stepped forward, escorting him away from the hall. The courtiers whispered, "A human? Chosen by fate?" As Ethan walked past, he glanced once more at the princess. She stood silent, her eyes watching him closely. Was she angry? Amused? Curious? He couldn't tell. But as he disappeared through the golden doors, Lyra's lips curved slightly. Just a hint of a smile. And in that moment, something changed in her heart. Maybe this human wasn't just another visitor. Maybe he was the beginning of something Velaris had never seen before. The sound of closing gates echoed behind Ethan. He took a deep breath, looking up at the alien sky. "Great," he muttered. "First day on a new planet, and I'm already engaged." Nova hummed softly. "On the bright side, sir, you might get royal benefits." Ethan groaned. "Shut up, Nova." And so, under the twin suns of Velaris, a strange new story began. A story of mistakes, destiny, and something that even the stars couldn't predict. Before the story continues, if you're enjoying this tale, take a gentle moment to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next part of Ethan and Princess Lyra's strange journey. Because this was only the beginning. The chamber doors closed behind Ethan with a deep metallic echo, and silence followed. Only the sound of his own nervous breathing filled the air. The alien guards led him through long, glowing corridors, walls alive with light, as if the whole palace was watching him. Every step felt heavier than the last. Nova hovered beside him, projecting a tiny blue light. "Sir, analysis complete. We are officially in trouble." Ethan muttered, "Really? I couldn't tell." "Would you like the odds of survival?" "No, Nova. I'd like silence." But silence didn't last long. They entered a massive arena, circular, open to the sky, with thousands of alien eyes watching from glass balconies above. The arena floor was made of energy tiles that glowed under his boots. In the center stood the Princess Lyra, wearing silver armor that shimmered like moonlight. She looked calm, but her gaze was sharp, unreadable. "Human," she said, her voice echoing across the chamber. "Velaris tests those who seek honor. You spoke words of promise. Now prove if they were truth or accident." Ethan frowned. "I told you that was—" "Silence," said a guard, striking his staff against the floor. Lyra raised her hand. "You will face 3 trials. If you pass, the king may forgive your mistake. If you fail—" Her words trailed off. The pause said everything. Ethan exhaled slowly. "Great. No pressure." Nova's tiny voice whispered, I suggest optimism, sir. It confuses your enemies. The first trial began. From the ground rose a creature, made of pure energy and shadow, its shape shifting constantly, eyes burning blue. A Valerie spirit beast, the guard whispered. It roared, a sound that made the walls tremble. Ethan instinctively reached for his tool belt, only a small plasma cutter and a broken shield module. He sighed. Yeah, this'll go great. The beast charged. Ethan rolled aside, heat brushing his face. He pressed a button. The shield flickered weakly to life. One more hit, and it would die. The creature lunged again. Ethan ducked, sparks flying. He scanned quickly. Nova, tell me something useful. Analyzing. Weakness found. Unstable energy core in the chest region. Perfect, and how do I hit it without die? Statistics are not in your favor, sir. Yeah, I figured. The beast swung its glowing claws. Ethan jumped, sliding across the floor, grabbing a fallen staff from a guard's post. He jammed it into the energy tiles. The floor lit up, overloading the beast's charge. It roared again, body flashing uncontrollably, then exploded into light. Silence filled the arena once more. When the smoke cleared, Ethan stood panting, holding the broken staff. His face was covered in ash, but he was alive. Above him, murmurs spread among the Valari crowd. A human survived the trial. Princess Lyra's lips curved just slightly. Clever. Not strong, but clever. The king nodded. The first trial is complete. Proceed to the next. Ethan groaned. Wait, there's more? Can I get water first? No. Nova whispered. At least they're consistent. The second trial began. This time, the arena shifted. Walls rose around him, forming a maze of glowing doors. Each door opened to a different illusion. False paths, memories, fears. Ethan felt dizzy as he entered the maze. It was like walking through dreams. One moment, he was back on Earth, his sister's laughter echoing. The next, he saw fire, explosions, the fall of the colony he once worked to save. He knew it wasn't real, but his heart still raced. He ran, shouting, Nova, where are you? The AI's voice crackled weakly. Signal. Unstable. Ethan turned a corner and froze. There stood Princess Lyra, or an image of her. Her eyes glowed, and her voice was soft. You can't win, human. Go home. This is not your world. He took a shaky breath. Maybe not. But if peace depends on me surviving this, then I'll die trying. He stepped forward, and the illusion shattered. The maze faded away, light folding into itself. The real Princess Lyra stood at the far end of the arena, watching him. Her expression had changed. She looked almost human. You resisted the maze of truth, she said quietly. Even my own guards have failed that test. Ethan smiled weakly. Yeah, well, humans are stubborn. The king's voice boomed again. Final trial. Ethan's smile vanished. Of course there's one more. The floor beneath him cracked open, revealing a deep pit filled with swirling blue energy. From the darkness rose a bridge made of floating stones. Each one flickered. Unstable. The trial of faith, said Lyra. Cross to the other side. Trust only your heart. Ethan looked down. The pit below was endless. He tested one stone with his boot. It flickered dangerously. He looked up at Lyra. Her gaze met his. Don't think, she said softly. Just believe. He took a breath and stepped forward. 1 stone, 2, 3. Each one shook under his weight. Energy sparks burst beneath his boots. Halfway across, Nova's voice buzzed in his ear. "Sir, gravitational field is unstable. Recommend retreat." Ethan looked down. The stones behind him were already gone. "No choice, Nova. Forward's the only way." He leapt to the next, barely catching balance. The crowd gasped. The final stone was far, too far, but he had to try. He looked once more at the princess. She didn't look away. Then he jumped. For a moment, time stopped. Wind rushed past him. Light surrounded him. And then, his hand caught the edge. He pulled himself up, landing hard on the final platform. The arena erupted in sound. Gasps, whispers, disbelief. The king stood. "The human has completed all trials." Lyra stepped closer, eyes locked on him. Her voice was soft, almost a whisper. "You risked your life for honor you didn't even mean to claim. Why?" Ethan looked at her, still catching his breath. "Because maybe peace starts with one honest mistake." For the first time, Lyra smiled. It wasn't cold or royal. It was real. But before anyone could speak again, the sky above Valaris darkened. Clouds twisted unnaturally. The palace lights flickered. Nova's sensors screamed. "Warning! Massive energy surge detected. Not from Valaris." Ethan looked up, heart racing. "What now?" Lyra's smile faded. Her voice dropped to a whisper. "That is not part of your trials." The ground trembled. The audience screamed. In the far distance, a shadow rose in the sky. A massive ship, black as night, blocking the twin suns. Ethan's hand tightened on his belt. Lyra stared at the dark ship, and in her eyes, for the first time, was fear. The sky of Valaris turned red that evening. The twin suns hid behind a dark shape, a ship, enormous, silent, and unknown. Ethan stared upward, heart pounding. "That's not one of yours, right?" he asked quietly. Princess Lyra didn't answer. Her eyes narrowed, reflecting the crimson light. "No, it's not Valerie. It's something else." All around them, the palace guards ran to defense stations. Sirens echoed through the shining city. The people of Valaris looked up in terror as shadows covered the streets. Nova's voice buzzed beside Ethan's ear. "Ship signature unregistered. Energy weapons charged. Recommend hiding, sir." Ethan turned to Lyra. "Your Majesty." "Don't call me that now," she said sharply. "Follow me." They ran through the palace corridors, glowing walls shaking with every distant blast. Dust fell from the ceiling. Outside, energy bolts struck the royal towers, splitting glass and metal. "Who's attacking?" Ethan shouted. Lyra's voice was low. "Enemies who want peace to fail." They reached a control chamber where holograms floated mid-air, maps, defense grids, flashing warnings. General Torin stood near the center, tall, armored, his expression calm but cold. "General," Lyra said, "raise the planetary shield, now." Torin turned slowly. His eyes, golden and sharp, moved to Ethan. "The human is still here." Lyra frowned. "He passed the trials. He's under royal protection." Torin's lips curved faintly. "Royal protection or royal distractio?" And Ethan stepped forward. "Look, I don't know what your problem is, but that thing in the sky is none of your concern," Torin interrupted. "Let the Valari handle their own war." Lyra glared at him. "We don't have time for this. Activate the shield." But Torin didn't move. Instead, he smiled. A slow, chilling smile. "Your Highness," he said softly, "the shield has already been disabled." Lyra froze. "What?" The hologram flickered, the defense systems offline, the shield grid broken. Torin's voice turned darker. "Your father was blind. He thinks humans are friends, but they're parasites. And you," he looked at her coldly, "you brought one into our palace." Ethan felt his blood run cold. "You did this. You betrayed your own world." Torin turned to him. "For survival, human. For power. Your kind will burn like the others." Lyra's hand went to her blade, a curved weapon glowing with silver energy. "Torin, stop this madness." He raised his gauntlet, firing a beam of red light. Ethan pulled Lyra aside. The blast missed her by inches, scorching the wall. The control room erupted into chaos. Alarms screamed, guards rushed in, energy bolts flew across the air. Ethan ducked behind a console, shouting, "Nova, jam the weapons!" "Attempting override. Please hold your panic, sir." Lyra's blade flashed, cutting through two of Torin's soldiers. Her movements were graceful, furious, like lightning in motion. Torin advanced, armor glowing red. "You think you can stop me, princess?" He swung his gauntlet again. Lyra blocked, sparks flying. Ethan grabbed a fallen guard's energy pistol. He wasn't a soldier, just an engineer, but right now he didn't care. He fired at the control panel behind Torin. It exploded, sending the general flying back into a wall. Lyra turned to Ethan, breathing fast. You just got lucky," Ethan said quickly. "Now what?" "Now we run." They sprinted through the burning halls, smoke, alarms, chaos everywhere. Outside, the sky was full of enemy dropships landing like dark meteors. Valerie soldiers fought in the streets. Civilians fled in panic. Lyra led Ethan through a hidden corridor, down to the royal gardens where crystal trees glowed faintly in the firelight. She stopped finally, leaning against a pillar, catching her breath. Her armor was scorched, her face streaked with ash. Ethan looked at her. "You okay?" She nodded slowly. "Yes, but my people aren't." For a moment, they just stood there, the world collapsing around them. Then Ethan said quietly, "There's something you're not telling me, isn't there?" Lyra looked away. "This isn't just an attack. It's a message. Someone wants the Alliance destroyed before it even begins." He frowned. "And Torin's working with them?" "Yes, but he's just a tool. The real enemy hides behind him." A shadow passed over them. Another explosion shook the ground. Ethan grabbed her arm. "We need to move." Lyra hesitated. "Ethan, why are you helping me?" He blinked. "Because you're not the enemy. And because if I don't, I'll hate myself later." For the first time since the chaos began, she smiled faintly. "You're a strange creature, human." "Yeah," Ethan said. "I get that a lot." They reached the edge of the garden. An escape shuttle stood hidden under vines, small but fast. Lyra started the engine, blue light flickering beneath. Ethan climbed in beside her. "You sure this thing works?" "It will. If you believe it will." He grinned nervously. "Right. Believing again." As the shuttle lifted into the smoky sky, Velaris burned beneath them. Towers falling, ships clashing. Ethan looked down, a mix of anger and sorrow in his chest. Nova's voice crackled through the cockpit. "Signal detected. It's Torin's transmission. He's sending coordinates to an unknown fleet." Lyra's face hardened. "He's contacting the invaders." Ethan turned to her. Then we stop him. Together. She looked at him. Long, searching, as if trying to understand this human heart that refused to give up. Finally, she nodded. Together. The shuttle broke through the clouds, heading toward the distant mountains, the signal source. But before they could reach it, a red light flashed on the control screen. Missile lock detected, Nova warned. Lyra's hands flew across the controls. They've found us! The first blast hit. The ship spun violently. Alarms screamed. Metal tore apart. Ethan grabbed the seat, shouting, "We're hit!" Lyra tried to steady it, but fire filled the cockpit. "Brace for impact!" The shuttle plummeted through the clouds, smoke trailing behind. The world below rushed closer, faster, louder. And then, impact. Silence. Everything was still. Ethan's vision blurred. Darkness, smoke ringing in his ears. He moved slowly, pain shooting through his body. Lyra lay beside him, unconscious, but breathing. He touched her hand lightly. "Hey, stay with me." Nova's dim light flickered. "Sir, location unknown, signal lost. Energy readings nearby are strange." Ethan looked around. The crash site was surrounded by glowing stones and mist, pulsing faintly with life. "What is this place?" He heard a whisper, soft, almost like a voice carried by wind. It wasn't Lyra. It wasn't Nova. "You should not have come here, human." Ethan froze. The air shimmered. And from the mist, dark figures began to form, tall, shadowed, their eyes burning blue like the beast he fought before. Nova's voice trembled. "Correction, sir. We are not alone." Ethan clenched his jaw, stepping in front of the princess's body protectively. "Then whoever you are," he said quietly, "you picked the wrong day to mess with me." The shadows moved closer, and the night of Velaris grew darker than ever. Smoke drifted through the valley, where the shuttle had fired. Alan, blue sparks flickered on broken metal, and the silence felt alive. Ethan opened his eyes to a dim glow. Every muscle ached. He pushed himself up slowly, dust rising around him. "Nova," he whispered. The little drone's voice buzzed weakly. "Online. Barely. Damage level. Severe. Recommendation. Don't die." Ethan looked beside him. Lyra lay still, her silver armor cracked, a small cut on her forehead. He crawled to her, checked her pulse. Relief washed over him. "She's breathing." He tore a strip from his sleeve, gently pressed it to the wound. Her eyelids moved. Then she opened her eyes. "Ethan?" He smiled faintly. "Yeah." "Still here." She looked around at the glowing mist. "Where are we?" Nova's light blinked nervously. "Energy readings unknown. Possibly ancient." The ground beneath them hummed, soft but steady, like a heartbeat. Strange symbols pulsed on the stones, the same pattern Lyra had seen once in forbidden texts. Her eyes widened. "This place, it shouldn't exist." Ethan frowned. "What do you mean?" "It's older than the Valerie, older than my people's history." Her voice dropped. "Some say it's the birthplace of the first war between stars." Ethan looked at the markings. They seemed to shift under his gaze, moving, whispering, alive. Then the mist thickened. Shapes formed inside it, tall, thin, shimmering. Their voices echoed like wind through glass. "Outsiders. Again." Lyra stood, trying to hide her fear. "We mean no harm." "Lies." The shapes stepped closer. Not solid, not fully spirit. Something between. Their eyes burned bright blue. Ethan took a slow breath. "We just crashed. We don't even know where here is." "You are in the hollow veil," one of them hissed. "The place of forgotten kings." Lyra whispered, "The hollow veil. It's real." The leader's gaze fell on Ethan. "And a human walks our soil. The last time your kind touched the stars." The world screamed. Ethan swallowed. "Look, I'm just a guy trying to keep everyone alive. So if you could, maybe—" Silence. The mist pulsed with energy. And suddenly, Ethan's vision flooded with images. Wars, fire, dying planets. Human ships fighting Valerie fleets. Centuries ago. He gasped, falling to his knees. "What? What is this?" Lyra caught his shoulder. "Ethan, breathe. It's not real. They're showing memories." "Truth," said the leader. "Your species was made by the same fire that burned us. You carry their flaw, hope." The spirits began to fade. But before vanishing completely, one whispered to Lyra, its voice almost kind. "Beware the red armor, for it serves the shadow that never dies." Then, silence. The mist cleared. The strange energy faded. Only the crash site remained, quiet under the twin moons. Ethan sat back, shaken. What did that mean? The shadow that never dies. Lyra looked at him. Her voice was low. "It means Tauren." Ethan blinked. "You think he's working with whatever those things were?" She nodded slowly. "Yes. He's not just a traitor. He's part of something much older." Nova beeped. "Incoming signal detected. Source, Valaris Palace. It's King Valen." Lyra pressed her communicator. "Father, are you safe?" The reply came through static, his voice weak, strained. "Lyra, Tauren has taken the palace. He's activated the crown core." Her eyes widened. "No! Father, the core is forbidden." Ethan looked between them. "The core what?" Lyra turned to him. "It's the heart of Valaris, a power source older than our empire. If Tauren unlocks it, the planet itself could break." Ethan stood quickly. "Then we stop him." She looked at him, torn between duty and fear. "You could leave, Ethan. Your people would understand." He shook his head. "And spend the rest of my life knowing I ran? Not a chance." She smiled faintly. "You humans, always choosing the impossible." They repaired the shuttle through the night. Nova patched the systems. Ethan rewired the thrusters using bits of alien metal. Lyra watched him, this fragile being working with burnt hands and no sleep. When dawn came, the shuttle roared back to life. They took off, leaving the hollow veil behind, its mist glowing softly, watching them go. As the ship rose, Ethan looked back at the valley. For a moment, he thought he saw the shadow again, tall, silent, standing among the stones. Nova broke the silence. "Coordinates locked. Destination, Valaris Palace. ETA 4 hours. Lyra sat quietly, staring out the window. Her reflection looked sad in the glass. Ethan finally said, "You're thinking about him, aren't you? Your father." She nodded. "He believed peace was worth any risk. And now that belief might kill him." Ethan sighed. "Then let's prove he was right." The shuttle crossed the horizon, entering the upper clouds. But then, Something dark loomed ahead. A blockade. Hundreds of ships, Tauren's fleet. Nova beeped frantically. Warning! Multiple hostiles. We cannot engage. Ethan gritted his teeth. Then we sneak. He dove the shuttle low through the storm clouds, lightning flashing around them. Enemy sensors swept the air. They barely escaped detection. When the palace finally came into view, it was unrecognizable, half in ruins, glowing red from within. The core's light was visible even from the sky, bursting through the cracks of the city like veins of fire. Lyra whispered, "He's done it. He's awakened the crown core." Ethan landed the shuttle behind the shattered spires. They stepped out, weapons ready, smoke and heat surrounding them. Bodies of Valerie's soldiers lay silent on the marble steps. The once beautiful city now looked like a dying star. As they entered the palace, Nova's scanners beeped. Energy signature approaching. A figure stepped from the shadows. Tauren. His armor glowed crimson, pulsing with the same energy as the core. His eyes no longer looked alive. They burned with cold light. "Princess," he said slowly, "you should have stayed gone." Lyra's voice shook. "What have you done, Tauren?" He smiled. "I freed Velaris from weakness. The core will make us gods, and you'll kneel before me." Ethan stepped forward. "Over my dead body." Tauren turned to him, amusement in his metallic voice. "Easily arranged." He raised his arm and fired. Ethan dove aside as the beam struck the wall, shattering it into molten shards. Lyra attacked. Her blade met his gauntlet, sparks flying, light colliding with darkness. The sound was deafening, metal clashing, energy cracking the air. Ethan grabbed a fallen rifle and joined the fight, firing at the core conduit behind Tauren to weaken his power. It flickered for a moment, just enough. Lyra struck, her blade slicing across his armor. He staggered, growling. "You think this ends here?" Tauren roared. "You have no idea what waits beyond the stars." He slammed his fist into the floor. Energy erupted, throwing Ethan and Lyra backward. The palace shook violently. Alarms blared. Nova screamed through static. "Core destabilizing! Massive overload imminent!" Ethan pulled himself up, coughing. "Tauren, you'll kill everyone!" Tauren laughed. "Then the galaxy will remember me!" The floor cracked. Light poured upward like liquid fire. Ethan looked at Lyra. Their eyes met, one silent thought shared between them. They ran toward the core chamber. Behind them, Tauren's laughter echoed. Above them, the sky tore open, and in the distance, through the red clouds, something vast began to move. Not a ship, not a being, but a shadow stretching across space itself. Lyra whispered, trembling, "The shadow that never dies." Ethan tightened his grip on his weapon. "Then let's make sure it regrets waking up." Flames wrapped around the palace like hungry ghosts. The air trembled with the heartbeat of the core. Everything was shaking. Walls, towers, even the sky. Ethan and Lyra ran through broken corridors, smoke swirling behind them. Nova flickered ahead, scanning the way. "Warning! Core energy level at 89%. Critical failure in minutes." Lyra's voice was rough from the dust. "If it reaches 100%, Velaris will implode." Ethan coughed. "Then let's make sure it doesn't." They turned a corner and stopped. The grand hall was gone, replaced by a crater of molten glass. At its center stood Tauren, half covered in light, half in shadow. The core pulsed behind him. A blazing sun trapped in chains. "You can't stop evolution," Tauren said. The Valari will rise above mortals, and the humans will kneel. Ethan stepped forward. Funny, you talk about evolution, but you sound like every tyrant in history. Torin's eyes flared. He raised his hand, firing a beam of pure energy. Ethan dove behind a pillar as it vaporized the stone. Lyra charged. Her blade clashed against his gauntlet with a thunder crack. Sparks flew. Light burned across her armor. Torin caught her by the neck and lifted her into the air. "You were meant to rule beside me." She struggled for breath. "I was meant to protect my people." Ethan leapt from behind the debris, slamming a plasma cutter into Torin's armor. The metal cracked, flaring red. Torin staggered back, snarling. "Nova!" Ethan shouted. "Find me a way to shut that core down!" Calculating. "Oh dear, the only manual access is inside the containment ring." Lyra's eyes widened. "That area's flooded with plasma radiation. No one can survive there." Ethan looked at the core, a whirl of light and energy tearing at its chains. He smiled weakly. "Guess we'll find out if humans really are stubborn." Before she could stop him, he ran toward the core platform. Lyra shouted, "Ethan, no!" He climbed the burning stairs, heat scorching his skin. The air vibrated like thunder. Each step felt heavier, slower, but he kept moving. Nova followed, projecting a hologram. "Sir, you have less than 3 minutes before your cells begin to disintegrate." "Plenty of time," Ethan muttered. Behind him, Torin laughed. "Look at him, a fragile creature playing hero. Do you think sacrifice makes you strong?" Ethan turned, sweat and blood running down his face. "It's what makes us human." He reached the control console, broken, sparking. He grabbed 2 live cables, crossed them, and screamed as energy shot through his body. The core reacted. Its light flickered violently. Torin roared and charged up the stairs. Lyra blocked him again, striking with every ounce of her strength. Their weapons clashed, sending waves of energy through the hall. "Ethan!" she cried. "Whatever you're doing, do it now!" He pressed his hand to the panel. His skin burned, but he kept going. The machine hissed. Energy surged through him. For a moment, he saw everything. Velaris, the stars, Earth, the end of time, and something else. A shadow, watching from the dark between worlds. It spoke without a voice. "You cannot seal what was never born. The core belongs to us." Ethan gritted his teeth. "Then I'm taking it back." He jammed the plasma cutters into the control port. A flash of blue light burst out, filling the entire chamber. Torin screamed as the energy hit him. His armor shattered, light pouring from his chest. Lyra shielded her eyes. When the light faded, Torin was gone. Only ashes remained. The core dimmed slowly, stabilizing. Ethan collapsed beside it, breathing shallow. Lyra ran to him, kneeling at his side. "Ethan, stay awake!" He smiled weakly. "Hey, guess we won!" She grabbed his hand, tears on her cheeks. "You foolish human! You nearly killed yourself." "Yeah, but you're safe. That's what counts." Nova floated above them. "Sir, you've absorbed an unknown energy signature. It's stabilizing your body, but it isn't entirely human anymore." Lyra looked at it, in shock. "What does that mean?" Ethan opened his eyes. They glowed faintly blue. "I don't know," he whispered, "but I can feel it. Something's still out there." She followed his gaze to the sky. Above the clouds, beyond the burning ships, a tear had formed in space itself. A massive rift, dark and swirling. Lyra spoke softly. "That's where the shadow came from. Ethan squeezed her hand. Then we know our next destination. Suddenly, Nova flashed red. Alert! The core's coolant lines are collapsing. Planetary crust instability in progress. Lyra stared at the screen. No! If Velaris breaks, millions will die. Ethan forced himself to his feet. Then we hold it together, somehow. He limped toward the console again, his hands glowing with that strange blue light. The panels responded to him now. The core recognized him. Lyra watched in awe as the human and the machine became one pulse. The core's rage subsided, its light flowed around Ethan like a halo. And for the first time since the war began, the planet grew still. Lyra moved closer, her voice barely a whisper. Ethan, what are you becoming? He looked back at her with a tired smile. Something new, I guess. Something that can fight what's coming. She reached for him. But before she could touch his arm, a flash of light engulfed the room. When her vision cleared, he was gone. Ethan, she cried. Nova hovered silently, its voice shaking. He merged with the core energy. He's alive, but not here. Lyra fell to her knees. Tears hit the floor. The palace was quiet now, but her heart was loud with pain. Then she heard his voice, faint, echoing through the AI channels. Lyra, don't give up. I'll find you. We're not done yet. She looked toward the rift in the sky. The shadow moved inside it, as if watching her. Her eyes narrowed. Then I'll be ready. Far beyond Velaris, in the dark between stars, a figure opened his eyes, floating in a field of blue light. Ethan looked around. No sound, no gravity, just infinite space. From the void, a voice went, spared. Welcome, human. You carry the light of a dead world. Will you burn with it, or become its flame? Ethan took a breath and whispered back, Let's find out. The light flared, and a new journey began. Stars drifted across the black like slow-moving embers, and in that endless dark, a single light pulsed. Ethan. He floated weightless, surrounded by blue fire that didn't burn. Every breath felt unreal. Every heartbeat echoed through nothing. He remembered the palace, Lyra's voice calling his name, and then the flash. Now, silence. Nova? He whispered. No answer. Only the hum of infinity. Then, a flicker. The AI's voice, distant and cracked. Sir, connection faint. You're inside the core's subdimension, a pocket between space and time. Ethan tried to move. His body felt light, not human anymore. When he looked at his hands, they glowed faintly. Veins of energy running under his skin. Nova, can we get out? Working on it. But something else is here. The darkness stirred. Shapes began to form, long shadows, whispering without mouths. Human light, how long since one dared to touch the flame? Ethan's heart raced. Who's there? We are the echo, the memory of what your kind destroyed. Images flashed, wars long past, burning planets, human fleets and Valerie ships locked in endless battles. You repeat the same mistake. You seek peace, but carry chaos inside you. Ethan clenched his fists. I don't care what you think. I'm going back. You cannot. The core chose you. You are its vessel now. He looked up, defiant. Then it'll have to share, because I've got promises to keep. The blue fire burst outward, and the void cracked. Light poured around him, pulling him back through the stars. He fell, through clouds, through thunder, through memories, until the world took shape again. Velaris. The sky was still burning, the rift still open. And below, the city fought for its life. When Ethan hit the ground, the shockwave rolled through the ruins, blue energy spreading like lightning. Soldiers and machines alike froze, sensing the power that had returned. Nova's voice chimed softly. "Welcome back, sir. You've been upgraded." Ethan stood slowly. The blue glow in his eyes faded to faint light. He looked at his hands. Steady now. Human again. Mostly. He heard a voice behind him. "Ethan?" Lyra. She stepped out from the smoke, her armor cracked, but her eyes bright with disbelief. For a moment, neither spoke. Then she whispered, "You're alive." He smiled faintly. "Told you I'd find you." She moved closer, then stopped. Something in the air felt different. Power radiated from him like heat. "What happened to you?" she asked quietly. "I don't know," he said. "But the core's energy, it's inside me now. It's alive." Before she could reply, the ground trembled. The sky tore wider, the rift spreading like a wound. From its center, something vast began to descend. A shape of smoke and light, wings of shadow stretching across the clouds. The soldiers who saw it fell to their knees. "The shadow," Lyra whispered. "The thing the spirits warned us about." Nova beeped in alarm. "Energy readings impossible. This entity doesn't obey physical law." Ethan stared upward. "What is it?" Lyra's voice was small. "It's what created the first war. The thing that feeds on fear and light alike. It calls itself the Endless." The shadow spoke, its voice deeper than thunder, older than stars. "Child of the core, return to the flame. Become one with the void." Ethan shouted back, "Not today!" He raised his hand. Blue energy surged outward, striking the creature's form. For a moment, the sky lit up. Then the energy scattered like dust. The shadow laughed, a sound that shook the planet. "Your light is borrowed, your hope temporary." It unleashed a storm of black fire. Ethan shielded Lyra, the impact throwing them across the ruins. He hit the ground hard, gasping. Lyra crawled to him, shouting above the roar, "You can't fight that alone!" He looked at her, pain in his eyes, but also something stronger. "I'm not alone." He took her hand. Blue light wrapped around them both. Their hearts beat in sync. For a moment, the storm bent around them instead of through them. Lyra felt the warmth spread through her veins, the same energy that lived in him now pulsing in her blood. She looked at him, breathless. "What are you doing?" "Sharing it," he said softly. "If this thing feeds on fear, then we give it the one thing it can't swallow. Love." Her eyes widened, tears mixing with ash. "You're insane." "Probably." The shadow roared again, descending. Its claws of smoke tore through towers. Every strike sent shockwaves through the city. Ethan stood tall, light flaring around him. Lyra rose beside him, her armor glowing blue instead of silver now. Together, they faced the creature. "Nova," Ethan said, "link us with every power conduit left in the palace." "Executing command? Try not to explode, sir." Energy lines lit up across the ruins, All of Valaris's remaining strength funneled into the two of them. The ground cracked. The air shimmered. Ethan's voice echoed through the storm. "You wanted light? Here's all of it." They raised their hands together. A beam of pure white shot upward, meeting the shadow's heart. The creature screamed, twisting, collapsing in on itself. But it wasn't dying. It was pulling them in. The beam bent backward, dragging Ethan and Lyra toward the rift. Nova screamed, "Field collapse! You'll be consumed!" Lyra shouted, "Let go, Ethan!" He shook his head. "Not without you!" The force was too strong. The ground beneath them shattered. They fell toward the rift, surrounded by swirling light and darkness. Lyra reached for him, her fingers brushing his. "If we fall," she whispered. "We fall together." He caught her hand. The world disappeared. They landed in silence. No sky, no stars, only a horizon of shifting color.